Hi everyone, it's Leah Caboodle and Coffee. In today's tutorial, I'll be demonstrating how to make a basic granny square. You'll need some 4-weight acrylic yarn and your favorite hook. Let's get started. Okay, this is a standard size basic granny square. And as you can see, mine's just about 6 inches, maybe, I don't know, might be off by about 1/8 of an inch. I crocheted this with a number 4 acrylic yarn and a J hook. Now I hope you have your yarn, your hook, and your coffee all ready to go. We're going to get started. You start with a slip knot. Okay, and we're going to begin by chaining 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then we're going to slip stitch into this first chain. To slip stitch, you insert your hook, yarn over, pull up a loop, and you're going to pull it straight through that last chain. Now you're going to want to open up your ring a little bit. Get that tail out of the way a little bit. And I usually crochet over my tail for the first row. Okay, now we're going to begin with a chain 2, 1, 2, and this does count as a double crochet. Now we're going to make 2 more double crochets into the ring. There's 1, and 2. Now this is considered 3 double crochets because of the chain and the 2 double crochets we just made. Now we're going to chain 2. 1, 2. Now we are going to make 3 more double crochets into the ring. 1, and 2, and 3. Now we're going to chain 2 again. 3 more double crochets into the ring. 1, 2, and 3. And as you can see, I forgot to yarn to crochet around my tail. That's okay. I will be showing you how to weave in your ends at the end of the video. As you can see, we've already got the start of a very small square. Now we're going, after those 3 double crochets, we're going to chain 2 again, and we're going to make 3 more into the ring. 1, 2, and 3. Now you're going to chain 2 to make that final corner, and we're going to crochet into the top of that chain 2 right there. Not crochet, we're going to slip stitch into it. There you go. Now we need to make it over to this chain 2, our corner. So what we're going to do is we're going to slip stitch into these 2 stitches right here. Insert your hook, yarn over, pull it up, and pull it through the loop on your hook. Insert your hook, yarn over, pull it through, and pull it through the yarn on the stitch on your hook. Now we're going to slip stitch into the chain 2. There we go. And now we're going to chain 2 again, which is considered a double crochet. And we're going to make 2 more to make our 3. 1, 2, and then we're going to chain 2 again. 3 more because it's the corner. We're rounding that corner. 1, 2, and 3. See, we made another corner. Now we need to make it over here, and we also need to leave a space to crochet more double crochets into, and that makes the side. So we're going to chain 1, and the reason that we're only going to chain 1 is because we only need to fit 3 double crochets into that space. Now yarn over and make your 3 double crochets. 1, 2, 3. Now chain 2 for our next corner. And if you need to, you can grab the chain 2 and push your double crochets over a bit. 3 more double crochets. 1, 2, and 3. Oops. Now chain 1 because this is a side space. 3 double crochets. 1, 2, and 3. Chain 2. 1, 2, and 3. And we have 3 corners made. Chain 1, 1, 2, and 3. Chain 2 for our last corner. 1, 2, and 3. Okay, we've got all 4 corners. Let's chain 1, and we're going to slip stitch into the top of the chain 2. Now, when I slip stitch into my chains, I like to grab 2 strands. You can see a strand here and a strand there. I like my hook to go under both of those. It just makes a stronger foundation for that slip stitch. There we go. You might have to work it a little bit. Try not to crochet too tight. Okay, I yarned over and I pulled up a loop. Now I'm pulling it through that chain 1. And now we're going to slip stitch over. You can hear my dog walking around. Dogs, plural. I have 2. Maya is my logo, my little Chihuahua logo. Okay, now we're going to slip stitch into our corner. Chain 2. That's one of our double crochets. Here's our second. And now our third. And yes, my dogs need a nail trim. Chain 2. 3 more. 2 and 3. Now we're going to chain 1, and we're going into this side space here, the chain 1 space, and we're only going to do 3 double crochets there. 1, 2, and 3. Let me pull up a little bit of yarn here. Chain 1, and now we're going to work into our corner. Two and 3, chain 2, 1, 2, and 3, chain 1 to go over to our next space. 1, 2, and 3. Chain 1, 3 double crochet into the corner. 1, 2, and 3. Chain 2, 1, 2, and 3. Chain 1, 1, 2, and 3. Chain 1. We're going to make our last corner. 1, 2, and 3. Chain 2, 1, 2, and 3. Chain 1 to go to our side space. 1, 2, and 3. And chain 1. Now you would continue on with your side spaces. You would join with a slip stitch into the chain 2 space, slip stitch over, slip stitch into this corner, make 3 double crochet, chain 2, 3 double crochet, chain 1, 3 double crochet, chain 1, 3 double crochet, chain 1, and you would continue that around. On my swatch, I continued around until I had 3 double crochet clusters in each side. 1, 2, 3, 4 chain 1 spaces. And that would give you an approximate 6-inch size granny square. If you're using a smaller hook, you might have to go around, do another round. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to end mine here. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you how to do an invisible join and how to weave in your ends. What I'm going to do is I'm going to cut yarn, leaves about a 6-inch tail, and I'm going to back up. I'm not going to make that chain 1 just yet, because that is where the invisible join begins. I'm pulling my tail out. See, I just have my 3 double crochets and I pulled my tail out. And get your yarn needle. I like sharp yarn needles because I like to actually go into the fiber when I weave in my ends. It secures it really well. Okay. Let's get this threaded. Now, we were going to slip stitch into the top of this chain 2. And there would normally be a chain 1 here. But that's what we're getting ready to make. But we're doing this in a way that there won't be a knot there or a bump or anything. So, what you're going to do is you're going to take your needle and go through the top of that chain, and you're going to pull the yarn so that it just about looks like a chain size, and then we are going into the top of this double crochet. Bring your yarn around the front. And run it down through that back bar and that little bar back there beneath it. Pull your yarn through. Pull it to a little bit. Oops. There you go. You want this to be the size of a chain 1, like right here. Now, flip your work over. And this is what the back of your granny square looks like. You can see how you see the back of the stitch looks like a bunch of bars going in different directions. That's how you can tell the front from the back. The front has the longer loops. The back has all these little bars going in different directions. So what we're going to do is run your needle down. I like to go into these stitches here, and what I do is when I put my needle in, I keep my finger behind there because you do not want your needle to go back to the front of your work. And you kind of want to work your needle so that it's going through the yarn. Just like so. And then go under the last loop there. Pull your yarn through. Hold your stitches in place while you do that. Now don't pull it too tight because you don't want to lose the shape. You want everything to stay at about the same tension. Now, we're going to go over to this corner. And we're going to do it on the back side only. Just weave in through the back of these stitches. Try not to go too deep. And try to stay a little close to the surface. Pull the yarn through. And then give it a tug like so, because you want to keep that stretch to your square. Now, we're going to head back in the opposite direction. We are going to go over the top of this first loop so that the yarn doesn't pull back through. And we're going to do the same thing, working through the yarn. You don't have to go real deep. Give it a tug. You don't want to pull through a whole lot of them. You just want to do a little at a time so that you can give it a tug and make sure it's not pulling the square together. And then come back out like so. Now we're going to skip back over the top, and we're going to work back in the other direction again. And I'll tell you what, this method, it's not going to come undone. It will not. You could wash it 20 times and these ends will not come out. I have tried to, I made a mistake on several projects after, and I noticed it after I had weaved in my ends, and I was like, I can't live with that. And I spent, on one of them, I spent an hour trying to pull this back out. So this is well worth your time. You don't want your work falling apart in the wash or gifting it to somebody and they call up and they say, I got all these little yarn ends showing through. Okay, now you're going to take the yarn and you're going to pull on it a little bit. And then you're going to grab your scissors and you're going to cut it as close as you can without cutting your square. And now give it a tug and that end disappears. And that is going nowhere. And you cannot see where you sewed it in. And you cannot see my invisible join. Now, the tail where we started out, even if you crochet over the top of this tail, do not skip. Don't just snip it off. Do not skip weaving it in. And I know it has a knot at the beginning, but it just has a slip knot. And the washer can do amazing things. And it can undo things that you wouldn't think that it could. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to sew in that tail. So what I do is I just go around my circle to the other side, a little bit at a time. Don't pull it too tight either, because you want that circle. There we go. Now, head back in the opposite direction. Here's a loop right there. We want to go over that one and under the next and back through. Kind of wiggle. Your needle a little bit. You're catching your yarn and going through your yarn when you do that. Give it a little tug. And now jump over the top again of that first loop under the next. Come out to the other side. I lay my thumb over what I just ran my needle through. And pinch it while I'm pulling it through, so it doesn't get misshapen. There we go. Now, give it a tug. Snip it as close as you can. Give it a tug again. There you go. It's disappeared, the end has. There you go. This is what we just did together. And this is what it can look like at the end. And that is how you make a basic granny square. Thank you for watching today's tutorial. Please don't forget to click the subscribe button for more videos. To learn how to double crochet, click the links in the description below, where you will also find links to my website, Ravelry page, Facebook, Instagram, and Pinterest. Thank you, and I'll see you next time.